Hey everyone, Dr. Kelly Starrett from the Ready State. Today, in preparation for Chad 1000, we are going to talk about hip range of motion. Specifically, a couple of things to keep your eyes on. Now look, we're not trying to be comprehensive in this. We're trying to give you an idea, and more importantly, also set you on a path of improved tissue tolerance, improved position, and also decreased muscle soreness. All of those things actually are sort of the same side of a different coin, the same, you get the idea. The idea here is I want to start putting basic self-maintenance care on your radar every day. So the next behavior that we're talking about is beginning something we call the daily mobility practice. So if you've got pain or you're working on a specific position, great, you can do those things also. But I want you, between now and when you engage in the Chad 1000X, I want you to engage with 10 minutes of soft tissue mobilization every day. It can be dealer's choice, what's sore, what am I doing tomorrow? It doesn't matter how you get there. If you need more examples, you can go to thereadystate.com. I have 10, 20, and 30-minute follow-alongs programmed, and all you need is a ball and a roller. But I'm gonna show you a couple ideas today to get you started, specifically 4 ideas, one for the anterior chain, one for the posterior, a couple for the posterior chain, so that we can begin this conversation. And what I want you to recognize is that you can actually move more efficiently, you can handle more volume, and you can decrease your muscle soreness because you basically reduce the session cost from the training that we just did. So we're benchmarking or parking rather all of that into the context of making sure that we're keeping an eye on your range of motion minimums. So one of the things that you'll see is that we don't all have the same anthropometry. So if I'm stepping up on a box, that's not the same thing as you stepping on the box or you stepping up on the box. But it's normative for us is that if I stand on one leg, this leg should come up to 120 to 130 degrees. And notice I didn't spin my leg out, I just picked it up, 120 to 130 degrees. So if you're finding that you're lifting your leg up and you're getting stiff at this 90-degree position, especially if you're balancing on a single leg, what you're gonna find is that when you step up on the box, it's gonna put you into a really sort of awkward position where your femur is pushing your pelvis the wrong direction. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna get hurt, I'm not saying that you're gonna get sore from it, I'm just saying it's inefficient. What I should be able to do is effortlessly be able to put my foot up on that box without lots of additional tissue strain. That's just a mark of inefficiency. And over an hour of training or an hour of efforts, 500 of those are going to start to get expensive, especially as I'm stepping down and want to close my leg, close this joint down so that I can take some of the load off of that leg that's going to be on the ground. So if I'm missing this hip range of motion as I step down, what'll end up happening is this torso will come up and then this step down leg is going to take the full blow. So hip flexion is part of the deal. Now, if you're missing some hip flexion, I'm going to show you something we call the hip capsule mob. And that hip capsule mob is that you're just going to need a mat like this or some kind of pillow. And then what I'm going to do is get all my weight going through that femur. Now remember, all of these mobilizations are on the Ready State, easily downloaded on our app, but this will get you started. And from what I'm going to try to do here is keep my weight pinned through the femur and then I'm going to push back into flexion. But my line of force is not here, my line of force is through the femur. So what I'm trying to do is imagine driving my knee into the ground so that the line of force comes out my glutes through that long bone of the femur. I can start to push that leg across my body a little bit here. And again, all I'm doing is just noodling around, touching this position. I should always be able to breathe. I should be able to squeeze my butt in any one of these shapes or create an isometric. And this is a way of beginning to work on that hip flexion. Now, if you're feeling a pinch, that's impingement. That's what we're trying to avoid. So respect that pinch, but let's begin to play with rotation. So what I can do is start to rotate externally and do the same thing, noodling around. But what I really want you to do is work on the internal rotation. Those of us who are missing internal rotation, the femur's rotating in, I should have a big rotation window with my hip here. And if I'm missing that rotation window, it's going to cost me a lot of inefficiency. I want to be able to step up and step down, and to keep this leg under my center of body, I'm going to need to have this rotation. So I can kick this leg out. So foot kicks out, I block it, and I just kind of noodle around. I can create isometrics here, but I'm just trying to expose my hip to these positions. Okay, so this is our hip flexion sort of big tester, right? I can stand, I can get to 120, 130 degrees, no problem. I've got a great joint capsule mobilization. A couple minutes left, couple minutes right. In front of the TV can make you right as rain. Now let me show you another hip flexion piece that we love to go with that, and that is called the hamstring lockout. So on my back, notice what I'm working on here. I'm working on the same position, knee to chest, so I'm working on hip flexion, like I'm stepping on a box here, body's leaning forward, and then all I'm gonna do is flex my quadriceps and straighten the leg for a second. And what I can do is start to push around. Now I don't wanna straighten my leg and not having tension. I wanna be living in tension for this whole 2 or 3 minutes. I don't have to hang out here and get a shake. I just want to make sure that I have a good, solid quadricep set. I'm teaching my quads to be able to fire against my potentially stiff hamstrings. So what I'm going to do here is just lock out and come out and back into tension at end range, lock out, right back into tension. And again, you can play around with this, 2 or 3 minutes of this as a regular habit. Back is protected. This will make your hip flexion a lot better. So the idea is I have this combo of hip range of motion where I'm working on the hip capsule, working on these positions of emphasis, these positions, and mobilizing these positions of restriction. Working on hip flexion is going to make it easier to step up on the box, having control stepping down the box. But let's talk about the back leg or the drive leg, okay? So first the order of business is I'm going to introduce you to something that if you've ever seen us before, followed the Ready State or formerly the Mobility WOD, something we invented called the couch stretch. Now this absolutely can be done on your couch, but since you're going for this thing, you got to do the full Monty. So what I do is I start down on my knees and hands. One leg goes in the back corner, and I should be able to squeeze my butt here. What I'm trying to do is a whole bunch of isometrics in this position. So if I'm working on flexion, that can be one day. I can do some hip capsule mob, some lockouts. That would meet your sort of 10 minutes daily mobility. Second now is I want to bring this leg up into a high kneeling position. This gives me the opportunity to noodle around, but again, I should be able to easily breathe, squeeze my butt, still have full control here. Ultimately, I'm trying to work my way more upright, where I can still squeeze my butt, and what you can imagine is this is me stepping on the box. Now I have to step down. I'm just challenging this hip and extension. Instead of long lever, leg straight, I've got short lever, and you're gonna find out that your quads may be a little stiff. Ultimately, I wanna be upright. Notice I don't go to full banana belly. I can squeeze my butt and still breathe and talk reasonably here. This is our sort of end goal position. Working on those shapes, you can get and accumulate up to 5 minutes. You can go minute, 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 minute. But the more adept you are at this couch stretch, couch mobilization, the isometrics here, the better off you're going to be. And finally, let me introduce you to the worst of it all. And this is some basic soft tissue mobilization. So stick with me. When we roll, and all the things we do, anything that's tight can be rolled. Now, we're not rolling front and back. And we're not going to just kind of hustle. We're going to get our brains involved, and we're going to make sure that we can sort of have control here. So the 2 rules are that anything that I push on should be painless to compression. So it shouldn't be uncomfortable. It should just feel like pressure. That's how I know my tissues are really ready to go. So if I scan from one side to the other side, I should be looking for tissues that feel stiff or uncomfortable. Again, it's not wrong that they may be uncomfortable. It just lets me know, hey, I have something I can work on. So if I find something I don't like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a big breath in, I'm gonna contract for 4 seconds, hold, teach my brain it's okay to build tension here, and I'm slowly gonna relax as I exhale. So I'm integrating my breath. 4 seconds to a max breath. 4-second isometric. Hold, hold, hold. On that breath, hold, and then slowly exhale. And let go. What you'll see is that's a great way of desensitizing tissues that are overworked or tissues that are just worked hard and need to restore their sliding. I can scrub back and forth. I can add motion in here, but what I don't do is go up and back. This isn't as effective at what we're trying to do. We're trying to train or expose these tissues to movement and to neuromuscular control plus breath control and change how they interact with the neighborhood. So scrubbing side to side, fair game, but I always should be able to take a full breath and I should be able to contract. And if I find something that feels super ugly and I'm holding on, then I'm gonna stop, make sure that I can take a full breath in, full breath out. And if I can't take that full breath, work on modifying your weight, modifying your load, because that's obviously too much. So use that breath as a protective mechanism. Now, I'm telling you, I need you to get good at this. You can work on the adductors here. We can sit up ultimately and go after the calves here, of course. Same rules apply, side to side, contract, relax, scrub, all those things are fair game. They're all covered at TRS if you need more ideas. But what we've done is given you two sort of assessment mobilization for flexion, an assessment mobilization for hip extension. And those things, as your root practices, will start to set your hips up for having the requisite range of motion to improve your efficiency and economy, and also diminish potential soreness from working. Remember, we're trying to use Chad 1000 as a seed crystal to change and understand ourselves and our practices and our minds. So let's go ahead and expand that definition to include things like community, right, under self-respect, self-responsibility, camaraderie, and range of motion. We'll see you next time.